Good evening, everybody. My name is Carla Carter. I'll be the host/moderator. Welcome to our youth session, November 19th, 2024. Our assignment is Genesis, the 34th chapter through the 39th chapter, then Job 1 through 2. Is what we're going to be going over tonight. Before we get started, let's see. John, can you lead us in prayer tonight, please?
Yeah. May we all bow our hearts and minds in a moment of prayer. Yahweh, we thank you for allowing us to have another 24 hours. We thank you for allowing us to gather here on this call today. And I pray that you give us the eyes to see and the ears to hear and understand what it is that you have purposed for us to learn of you today. We pray that you keep us close to you every day, acknowledging you in all things. And these things we ask in your son's name, Yahshua Messiah. Let us all say hallelujah.
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 All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you. I'll mute everybody out for just a second. So as people are coming in, they won't be loud when they're coming in. All right. You guys can unmute whenever you feel okay. All right. So topic of discussion is Genesis 34 through the 39th chapters, Job 1 and 2. For those of you who are new to this class or just joining or not really sure where we are, this is our youth class. The age limit, the age range is from the age of 12 years old, I think is our youngest member, and all the way to 27 or 8, I think, is I think 28, Amber's 28, 27, 28. But just a very wide range of youth. And so what we've been going over since we started this year, going over this session is here. We started with Moses' 3 trips into the mount. So you guys, what I want you to do real quick before we go into our discussion, let's refresh on Moses' 3 trips. So anybody, what was the very first trip into the mount for Moses, and what chapter do you find that at?
Chapter 19.
Yeah, chapter 19, they was on the plateau of the mount.
Okay, chapter 19 of what book?
Exodus.
Exodus, okay, very good. All right, Exodus 19, very good, Toby, very good, Sean. This is where Yahweh told Moses, he called Moses was on the plateau of the mount, and Yahweh told Moses to tell the children of Israel to clean up in 3 days. He would speak to the children of Israel. If you notice in the 19th chapter of Exodus, it says on the 3rd month, the self-same day, Yahweh told Moses, blah, blah, blah. We went back, we found in Exodus 12th and 13th chapters that Yahweh started the beginning of the year with the children of Israel in the month Abib, which is like our April. So the 3rd month for them would have been April, May, June. So June, 3rd month, self-same day means the 3rd day as well. So if it's the 3rd month, then it's also the 3rd day. So June 3rd, Yahweh tells Moses to tell the children of Israel to clean up, because in 3 days he was going to speak to the children of Israel. Now, 3 days later, June 6th, what did Yahweh do on June 6th? And where do you find that at? Where does that start? June 6th.
June 6th, that's when he gave out the law. And that is right in the chapters 20 through 23.
Very good. 20 through 23 is what Yahweh spoke to the children of Israel. He spoke the law down to them in the 20th chapter of Exodus. And so, got that. 24th chapter, this is where we'll pick up where Moses is called up into the top of the mount. And he's also told to bring Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, 70 of the elders of Israel. And they were all on the plateau of the mount. And those 74 people, including Moses, saw the Elohim of Israel. This is Exodus 24, 9 and 10. Now, this second trip, when Moses goes up alone and by himself in the top of the mount, we find out that in Exodus 24:16, where it says the cloud covered it 6 days, this is where we would go to Genesis, the 1st chapter, to find out what happened on those 6 days, or what Moses saw in his vision on those first 6 days when the cloud covered the mount. And we'll go to Genesis first chapter. It says, in the beginning, which we found out that it's talking about in the beginning of Moses' vision on that second trip. This is what he saw. And he also saw Exodus 25 through 31 in there as well. And what else did he see?
He
The 6 days of creation.
The book of life,
The book
tabernacle
of life.
pattern, the instructions for the tabernacle pattern.
Very good, guys. So the book of life and the tabernacle pattern and the 7 days of creation. That's what he saw on his second trip. Then, after he comes down out of the mount, he sees the children of Israel had built a golden calf. He got very hot and angry. He threw down the tables of stone that had the Ten Commandments law written on them with the finger of Elohim, and he broke it. He caused them to grind up that golden calf, strew it in water, and make them drink it. And then the Levites were told to strap on their swords, and they killed about 3,000 people that day that worshiped the golden calf. So how long was Moses up into the top of the mount on that second trip, guys?
40 days and 40 nights.
40 days and 40 nights. We found that out in the end of Exodus 24 chapter. On this third trip, what did Moses see on the third trip? And where do you find where the third trip starts?
The days of the creation. No.
He saw from Genesis second chapter all the way up until Exodus.
The third.
I think he wrote about from Genesis second to Exodus second, but he saw from Exodus second all the way up until Exodus 18th, and then it starts at the 34th and then goes on, I believe.
Yep. So, and let's explain what that means. So this third trip, Moses goes up into the top of the mountain. You find it in the 34th chapter of Exodus. Very good, guys. So what he sees a rerun, a recap of what he saw in the second trip. But so this time he finds out that it didn't take Yahweh 7 days to create anything. He created everything in the day of eternity. And that's why he writes about that. So the second chapter of Genesis starts out saying that these are the generations of the heaven and earth, where Yahweh Elohim created them in the day. And so the first chapter of Genesis, he writes about the 6 days of creation, 7th day Yahweh rested. The second chapter, it kind of says, well, no, he created everything in the day. And the reason why you have those two differences is because after Moses comes down out of the mount, the second trip, when he saw the 7 days of creation, the tabernacle pattern instructions in the book of life, he didn't see the recap of everything. And so he wrote what he saw in the second trip in the first chapter of Genesis 25 through 31. That's what he wrote after the second trip. Now, the third trip, he saw from the beginning of creation all the way down to the Messiah on the cross, is what he saw in the third trip. So as he comes down out of the third trip, he ended up having to write down what he saw. And so what he wrote down is from Genesis, the second chapter, all the way to Exodus, the second chapter is what he wrote. No, 18th chapter is what he wrote. But he saw, all the way down to the Messiah. Okay, so he wrote about all of it, but he saw all the way down to the Messiah. All right. I want to get into a whole bunch of details about that. But anyway, so then what Moses did see is everything that happened from Genesis all the way to Exodus 18. Well, past that, but that's what he wrote about. So we started reading Genesis first chapter. We went back to read everything in order. And so now our assignment has been to read Genesis 34 through 39, and then also Job 1 and 2. The reason why we're adding Job 1 and 2 in here is because in between these chapters of 34 through 39 chapters of Genesis, I'll show you where the book of Job fits into those chapters. So, y'all ready to do it? Everybody ready besides Kobe and Sean? Answer some questions all okay. All right, let's do it. Let's get this done. All right, 34th chapter of Genesis. Who wants to read it for me?
I'll read.
Thank you.
And is it Dinah or Dina? Because her name is brought up a lot. Dina?
We say Dinah.
Dinah.
I say Dinah.
All right. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her, and lay with her, and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with the cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought disgrace in Israel in line with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. And Hamor communed with them, saying, The soul of my son, Shechem, longeth for your daughter. I pray you give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her father and unto her brethren, Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me, but give me the damsel to wife. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, Because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto them, We cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that is a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter. And he was more honorable than all the house of his father. And Hamor and Shechem, his son, came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, These men are peaceable with us. Therefore, let them dwell in the land, and trade therein for the land. Behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people. If every man among us be circumcised, as they are circumcised, shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearken all that went out of the gate of the city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of the Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon, and Levi, Ye have troubled me to make me stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, Should he deal with our sister as with the harlot? Genesis 34th chapter.
Very good. Hallelujah. All right. Very good. All right. Let's discuss this chapter first. Anybody got anything they want to share? What Yahweh showed them with this chapter? Any questions or what you want to bring out with this chapter? Why was it a problem that he slept with Dinah? I mean, he loved her. It wasn't like he was like sleeping with her because, he was just trying to, whatever. He loved her. So what was the problem? Why did they have a problem with that?
Ruth told that she wasn't married to him, and then it wasn't in the same household as they normally do, like a tradition type. They always married within the same tribe or whatever you want to call it, and he wasn't circumcised as well. So I kind of see like with the swords, like he had to slay them and stuff. Like I see like cutting off of the flesh, as we have to do now today. How we have to cleanse ourselves and be reborn and cut off fleshly things of the world, and to as we read Sunday, John 4:24, they got to worship him in spirit and in truth. So that's what Yahweh showed me with that, just cutting out the flesh and everything.
Okay, very
But
good.
because in Romans 8 chapter, I think the sixth verse, to be carnally minded is death, which means flesh minded. To be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So that's all I wanted to share.
Okay, very good. All right, anybody else?
I was gonna say, doesn't defile mean that he had raped her? I was gonna say that.
Mm.
Well, my question, did he rape her?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say he raped her. It just say he laid
I
with her.
thought that's what. So I
Yes.
looked up what defile means. Defile means one of the definitions is violate the chastity of a woman. Uh, Synonyms are violate, uh, desecrate, profane, contaminate, dishonor. But that's what I thought that meant. Defile.
Yeah, violate the chastity woman just means takes her virginity. That's better.
Oh, okay. I thought you right.
That'd be like rape.
What?
I said that'd be like rape if you take somebody's virginity and she wasn't ready.
Well, it doesn't say she wasn't ready though. It just says that, yeah, so I don't want to speculate and say he raped her because I can't prove it by the scriptures say he raped her. It just says he defiled her, meaning that he took her virginity without being married to her, or because the thing is, back in that time, to consecrate a marriage or to make a marriage be solidified, then you have to go in, the man has to go into his wife to make her, to consecrate that marriage. So that's like with Rachel and with Leah. Jacob laid down with Leah first, and that's what he's like. Well, give me my wife tonight, and that's because that consecrates the marriage. And so with him lying down with her, not being married, like Toby said, that was one thing. But two, remember, like Abraham didn't want Isaac to take a wife of the people of that land. Same thing with Rebecca. Was like, look, it's gonna kill me if if he takes a wife, if Jacob takes a wife of these people of this land, let him go back to my, because of their inheritance. They could not marry or be with anybody else other than themselves because of their inheritance that Yahweh promised them. And so now, because he slept with her and taken her virginity, she can't marry anybody else. She will never have an inheritance now amongst her people, because had she married one of her brethren, she would have had an inheritance with her brethren. And so now he's defiled her. And so that's why they were so pissed off and mad about it. Like, you done defiled our sister. And that's why they dealt deceitfully with them. Like, okay, since you did that, we're going to act like we're going to be cool with y'all. But we really not, though. And we're going to make y'all get circumcised so y'all be too sore to fight back and kill all of y'all. You know what I mean? So that's what they did. Yep. But that's why they were so upset about it, though.
Yeah, that's like a dream I had. I was
Yeah, right. That's right.
I was about to get raped, but I didn't. But in a sense of how I'm understanding it is that I could be raping my own self with my mind.
Oh, okay. Or because the thing is with them, with him doing that, he caused her to lose her inheritance, basically. So I mean, you could look at something like that. I don't know about the details of everything, but it means be something like that too.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
just didn't happen. I woke up before.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I get
Yep.
it.
I saw 3 days in there too. I don't know if y'all caught that 3 days or not, but I did see it 3 days in there. And then of course you got the blood. So I'm expecting somewhere to be water and spirit and the 40 coming up too within the reading, but I'm not sure. But anything else with this particular chapter that y'all saw that y'all want to bring out and have questions about?
And is that like the Canaanites and Hittites? That's like how do you say it? Um like our thoughts and things like that.
Yeah. Those nations. So when you
Nation.
look at Canaan land, yep, those nations, which would be, of course, like condemnation, stagnation, damnation, things like that. Because when you
Mhm.
look at the migratory pattern, I'll show it to you real quick. Want to make more sense to you guys. So this is Canaan land.
Right.
From Canaan, Canaan came from Ham. Now, if you look at the three sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth. Ham looked at his father's nakedness. He said, "Cursed be Canaan." He didn't say, "Cursed be Ham." He said, "Cursed be Canaan," because remember, at that time, Yahweh said that he would visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation.
Yes.
And so that's why with Adam's transgression in the garden, with him protecting the tree in the garden, you had to have 4 generations or 4,000 years pass before he would remove that iniquity with that passing from Adam to everybody, that death passed from Adam to everybody else. Likewise with Ham, the iniquity of the fathers of Ham had to pass down to Canaan and his children. So the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Amorites, all of those descendants of Ham, that curse passed on all of them. And if you trace the lineage of Ham, you even get the Egyptians, you get the people of Nineveh, you get the Philistines, you get all of them came from Ham. And those were the ones that always played that mystery of iniquity in Yahweh's story in that particular dispensation, that age and
Right.
dispensation. So, but yeah. And so he didn't want, so at the time, remember when Jacob came out of, not Jacob, yeah, Jacob, when Jacob came out of Laban's house, he had his 11 children and they crossed back over to Esau's land. They're still in Canaan land in Esau's territory when all this is going on, which we'll keep reading, you'll see that. So they're in Canaan land, but they're in Esau's territory in Canaan land. They're not in their inheritance yet. And so that's why Jacob was like, "Man, you make me sink in this land. Y'all doing all this stuff, and these people gonna be looking at us like, oh, look what they did." But that was the reason why they did it. All right. Moving next chapter, because we got a lot of ground to cover. I can read the 35th chapter, and then if somebody be prepared to read the next chapter for me. So Genesis 35. We got a long way, not long way, but we got a little ways to go. And Elohim said unto Jacob, "Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there, and make there an altar unto Elohim that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother." Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, "Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto Elohim, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went." And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed in the terror of Elohim, and the terror of Elohim was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar and called the place El Bethel, because there Elohim appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name of it was called Alan Bakuth. And Elohim appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Paddan Aram and blessed him. And Elohim said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And Elohim said unto him, I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac to thee, I will give it. And to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And Elohim went up from him in the place where he talked with him. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Jacob called the name of the place where Elohim had spake with him, Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath, and Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave. That is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edar. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12, the sons of Israel. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan, and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad, and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Paddan Aram. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. And Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Genesis 35th chapter. All right. Let's go back up. What do you guys see in this one? Did you guys get anything out of this one? Or did you have any questions about this one? What you got? We're almost at the Job part. So I'm going to kind of get these out the way.
See that, like all the tribe, all of them that was around in the holy place.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the 12 tribes of Israel being in the Canaan as a holy place?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
see she was, and they was in the court roundabout when the oil, when you was talking about the oil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's like
Okay, when he poured the oil on the top.
yeah.
Okay.
When
Okay.
drink and he poured oil thereon, and Jacob called the place where Elohim spake unto him.
Mm-hmm. Find it real quick. Because he had poured a drink, and he poured a drink offering, and he poured oil as well.
Yeah.
And then also oil represents spirit. We have the blood principle already. Now we got the oil, the spirit principle. Not sure what the water principle is, but
because she had that the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the blood.
Mm-hmm.
And there's death. And there's death because she died.
Yep, you got some death in there too. Rachel died, you had Isaac dying, got some death going on up in there. Another thing too, me go back up here. So where did they get those strange gods that they were worshiping? Remember where it says in the second verse, then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that were among you, and be clean and change your garments.
The
Where did they get those strange gods from?
From Egypt.
Yeah.
They don't say anything about them being in Egypt. They were in Canaan the whole time, remember? They didn't go down into Egypt at this time.
Because
Do they?
oh, I'm sorry. Go
Huh?
ahead.
Did she keep the guys that she stole from her daddy?
You better say it, girl. Yes. Very good. So remember when they were leaving Laban's house, remember Rachel stole Laban's images or the gods that he was worshiping. She stole them from him and kept them with her and took them with her. Remember that, y'all? Those are the same strange gods that they were worshiping, the same ones that Laban was worshiping too. Did y'all catch the part where they gave up the strange gods and the earrings in their ear?
Years,
Did y'all
yeah.
see that part? Remember after they came up out of Egypt and they built the golden calf, they had to take the earrings out their ear to make the golden calf and said, let this be the God that brought us out of Egypt, remember?
Yeah.
So that happened way before all that. So they even were worshiping. So the same thing, they had to take the earrings out of their ears and they had to get rid of all the strange gods. All of that that they were doing, they were worshiping different gods with the earrings in their ears and the idols and stones and stone items and stuff like that that Rachel had stole from Laban, her dad.
Yeah.
So that's what they were worshiping.
Yahweh told them not to worship any other gods.
Yep. Now at this time he hadn't said it yet, but they knew that they weren't supposed to do that. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, that's exactly what I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask, when was it that Yahweh commanded them not to worship those idols, for Jacob to tell them to put them away? That's what I was curious about.
Right here, first verse. He tells them in the first verse of 35th chapter. He said, and Elohim said unto Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there, and make there an altar unto Elohim that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. So Jacob told his household, put away these strange gods,
Oh, okay.
so forth and so on, blah, blah, blah. That type of stuff. And then too, with Abraham, when y'all was talking with Abraham, Yahweh told him, I brought thee out of Ur the Chaldees and all that stuff like that from the other side of the flood when your fathers worshiped other idols and blah, 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 stuff like that. And like they knew to worship El Shaddai because he's the Almighty provider. But so he told them to put away the strange. I just wanted to see if y'all would catch where those strange gods came from. I already caught it. Very good. Mike says 35:2 picks up the water principle. Very good. That's right. To clean themselves, right? And change their garments. That's the water principle. So you have the blood, you got the water, the oil of the spirit. Very good. Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you and be clean and change your garments. Let us arise. So now you got a resurrection to arise. You got a resurrection. Huh? That's my system. And so they gave him the strange gods, so on. So they journeyed. The terror of Yahweh was upon the cities round about them, and nobody pursued after the sons of Jacob. So that was Yahweh protecting them through that process. And so he changed Jacob's name to Israel. I am El Shaddai, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And I'm going to give this land to you that I promised unto Abraham and Isaac, and also to the seed after you. And he made a pillar, and so forth and so on. Did y'all catch the fact that Elohim or El Shaddai appeared unto him again? It said appear unto him again and talked with him and told him some things. That was Joshua appearing unto him again. But yeah, okay. All right, cool. Next chapter. Who wants to read the next chapter for me?
I'll read.
Thank you.
All right, 36th chapter. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth, and Ada bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Ruel, and Aholibamah bare Jewish, and Jalem, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all his substance, which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than that they might dwell together. And the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the wife of Esau. Ruel, the son of Beshemeth, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Taman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Ada, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Ruel, Nahath, and Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife, and she bare to Esau Jewish, and Jalem, and Korah. And these were the dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, Duke Taman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Ada. And these are the sons of Ruel, Esau's son, Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shammah, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came from Ruel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife. Duke Jewish, Duke Jalem, Duke Korah. These were the dukes that came of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom. And these are their dukes. These are the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lotan, and Shobal, and Zibeon, and Anna, and Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishon. These are the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Hori and Hammon. And Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these, Alvin and Manath, I can't even pronounce that, Manahath, and Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah and Anna. This was the Anna that found the hot springs in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Zibeon his father. And the children of Anna were these, Dishon and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna. And these are the children of Dishon, Hamdan and Eshban, and Ithran and Charan. The children of Ezer are these, Belhan and Zavan and Akan. The children of Dishan are these, Uz and Aran, or Aaron. These are the dukes that came of the Horites, Duke Lutan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anna, Duke Dishon, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came out of Hori, among their dukes in the land of Seir. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom, before they reigned any king over the children of Israel. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jobab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned in his stead, and Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Temani reigned in his stead, and Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Abith. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Mesrekah reigned in his stead, and Samlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead, and Saul died, and Baal Hanan, the son of Akbor, reigned in his stead, and Baal Hanan, the son of Akbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Paul, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, and the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau, according to their families, after their places, by their names: Duke Timnah, Duke Alva, Duke Jetheth, Duke Aholibamah, Duke Eli, Duke Penon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Teman, Duke Mibzar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Eram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, father of the Edomites.
Very good. Thank you.
That's a lot
Now,
of Duke.
a lot of people. Normally, I used to like skip over this because I was like, I don't need to know the names. You don't need to hear nothing about these people even after that. But there's a reason why I want you to read these names, because they're going to come up important in Job, the book of Job. For example, if you go up to the 4th verse, Adar bare to Esau Eliphaz. I don't know if you remember Job's three friends' names, Eliphaz. And then Eliphaz had Teman. And if you look at Job's friend, one of his friends was Eliphaz the Temanite. So if you look at all these dukes, you have where are we at? What the dukes at? Here we go. Omar, Zepho, all these guys. You got Korah, Amalek, all these. So you had the Amalekites, Horites, like all these end up being like Horites. Like you have they end up putting ites at the end of the name and they become like a nation of people or like a people. And so you have the Teman had the Temanite. Also, if you notice in the 10th verse, he had a son. Where are we at? Is it the 10th verse? No, 28th verse. Sorry, 28th verse. The children of Dashan are these, Uz and Aran. What was the name that Job was in? Job was in the land of Uz, Esau's son. So Job, in the book of Job, Job was here at this time when they were here. Because if you remember Job's for 3 friends, Eliphaz was one of them, the Temanite. Job's friends, 2 of them were, one of them was Esau's son, and the other one, let me go to it real quick and go to Job and come right back. Job, the 2nd chapter, so I want y'all to pay attention to the names of what I'm talking about. So Job's 2nd friend, where his friends go? Here we go. Job 2:11. Now, when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came everyone from his own place, Eliphaz, the Temanite, which is Esau's firstborn, Bildad, the Shuhite. Now, who is Shua? You got to get a Shuhite from somebody named Shua. Do y'all remember who Shua was? Oh, y'all remember who Shua was. Remember when after Sarah died, Abraham took Keturah to wife, and he had sons by Keturah, and Shua was one of the sons by from Abraham for Keturah, Shua. And so he was also in the land too. And so if we read the next chapter, we're going to talk about Judah went to somebody named daughter of Shua and laid with her. So they were all in this land of Esau at this time. The whole point is, I'm going to show you in a minute, that Job was there too at the same time. So the book of Job seems like it's supposed to be years, way after they left Egypt. But actually, the book of Job started out in Canaan land with them. And I'll show that to you in a minute. Okay. So just keep all that in mind. So some of these names are very important. Uz, Timon, Eliphaz, all those things are important. So keep that in mind. Okay. All right. Y'all follow me so far? Did y'all see that? As far as Esau's children, their names and stuff, and where Job was at in the land of Uz, because at the time, Jacob and his children dwelt in the same land with Esau and his children. That's why it said up here that the land was too great for all of them because of the cattle that Israel had. So Esau had to go down a little farther. But they all were dwelling and living in the same land at the same time in Canaan land before they came down into Egypt. All right. So we go to the 37th chapter, and I'll read that one for you real quick, and then we'll get into Job and finish up with the last two chapters. All right. And Jacob dwelt in the, does everybody see that so far though? I don't want to move too fast.
Yeah.
Are y'all kind of like, whoa, I didn't catch that, but I see that now. I see Esau's children's name, and I see that's the same name with Job. I see Esau's son's name was Uz. I see Job lived in the land of Uz. Wow, didn't catch that.
Yeah,
But
I never saw
tight.
that in my life.
You never seen it.
Okay, so hang tight. You're going to see some more in just a minute, so hang tight. All right. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Because remember, when Jacob's having these children, this was over a period of 20 years that he's having these children. So some of them like 20 years apart, 18, 19, 20 years apart. Because Reuben was the firstborn. It takes 9 months to have a baby. So it's not like they was having they all the same age. So of course you have some of them being different ages. So keep that in mind too. But anyway, so if Joseph is 17, Reuben and all them are way older than him now. And so while they're out here in this land, they're old enough to be dealing with, different things going on with different things and stuff like that. Just keep all that in mind. So these are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I've dreamed. For behold, we were grinding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheep arose and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood round about and made obeisance to my sheep. And his brethren said to him, Shall thou indeed reign over us? Or shall thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream and told it his brethren and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I not, mother and thy brethren, indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brother envied him, but his father observed the saying. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. They feed the flock in Shechem, the same dude that they killed. They got his land. That's crazy. Okay, sorry. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flock, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem, and a certain man found him. And behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren, Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beasts have devoured him, and we shall see what will come of this dream. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into the pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, and Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother in our flesh. And his brothers were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren, and said, The child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat, and evil beasts have devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted, and said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's, and captain of the guard. Genesis 37th chapter. Or what y'all got out of this one so far? Anything you stuck out?
I see a blood water spirit.
Okay, what you see, boy? What you see, boy?
Well,
What you got?
I see a blood and water in this chapter. I'm gonna say the spirit and everything else for the next chapters. But the blood obviously is on the coat of Joseph when they killed the kid goat and put the blood on the coat of Joseph to show to Joseph, and then Jacob, show Jacob, and then Jacob mourning or crying would be the water. But I don't know what the spirit would be next. But we shall see. I know it's there though.
We shall see. You know it's there. And the 40 too. And the 40 is gonna be there too. And it's crazy. It's so crazy. But yeah, what else? Anybody else?
I didn't know that he was 17. That was the first time I seen that. I don't know what's in
he
it,
was so young.
but I didn't know that he was that young.
Yep, 17 years old, and sold to some Ishmaelites into slavery. Yep. Now, can anybody remember why would Ishmael, the Ishmaelites, be going to Egypt? Why would they be going down to Egypt?
His mother was Egyptian.
His mother was Egyptian. You better say it. So he had ties in Egypt anyway. But of course, he had inheritance or land in Canaan land because of his father Abraham, because remember Yahweh promised Abraham he would make princes of of Ishmael too. And so they would trade, go back and forth to Egypt and trade there as well. Now, what is the spiritual significance with Ishmael being the one to take Joseph down into Egypt? Anybody know? Spiritual significance of that? Why
Like,
Ishmael of all people?
It was Isaac, brother. Which is, I mean, I don't know. It's too much. 'Cause ain't Joseph his that's his grandson. But I don't know. I tried.
Good try.
like the, I don't know, like he was the helper or to help them.
Good try. Good try. Now, Hagar, Ishmael's mother, what type of woman was she?
Bond.
She was a bondwoman. Okay. Now, Ishmael represents the flesh or bondage. So he had to be the one to take Joseph down into Egypt because the story repeats itself over and over and over. So Joseph is a type and a shadow of a forerunner being sent down in Egypt, and he's going to be down there. And he's going to have to be down there to prepare a place for them so that where he'll be, they can be there too. And so Ishmael representing the flesh, Joseph being a type of the Messiah, being a forerunner, Ishmael having to, so of course you have to see him being brought down by the flesh or in the flesh, so to speak. So the Messiah having to come down in the flesh to free them from those things or to carry out the purpose or the law that they were bound to, basically. But anyway, that's just the type and the shadow of the reason why it had to be Ishmael bringing them down into the land of Egypt. And you had those Midianites too, because I believe Midian also came from Keturah, Abraham's second wife as well. Midian did.
Because it's all the Gentiles, it's the Israelites, and then the Gentile nation, which is the fleshly nation, right?
Right. So you got Jew and Gentile. You have only two nations of people, Jew and Gentile. That's right. Very good. Anything else that you guys saw in here?
I noticed that a young kid was killed. Of the goats, but when they went into they were in the land of Goshen, they had to kill either a kid or a sheep, a goat, a kid of the goat or one of the sheep, and that, of course, they probably didn't just kill it; they probably ate it as well. You know,
I don't know.
I hope they didn't waste it, but yeah, that stuck out to me. That yeah, that stuck out to me that it was a young kid, innocent blood was shed.
Based on what you know about the Messiah and what he had to go through, how would this correlate with what Joseph had to go through? Anybody? Who was it that wanted to kill the Messiah?
King Herod did when he was a baby.
No, I'm talking about who wanted to kill the Messiah. Who actually offered the Messiah up?
Yeah, well,
His own people.
His own people. The 12 tribes of Israel, the sons of Jacob. they sought to kill the Messiah because he said he was the son of Yahweh. They were jealous of him because Joshua said he was the son of Yahweh. And they wanted to kill him because of that. They, knowing that Joseph was their father's favorite and that their father favored him, they were jealous and wanted to kill him because of it. Now, even with Isaac, the ram was offered up instead of Isaac, and you had the kid of the goat offered up instead of Joseph. So on the Day of Atonement, the high priest, the children of Israel, like was said, they could take out from the sheep or from the goat. And so now in both of those types and shadows of the Messiah, you have Isaac, a ram being offered up for him instead of him. And for Joseph, you had a goat being offered up instead of him. They put him in a pit in the heart of the earth or in the ground, right? And it had no water in there. So a whole bunch of different things that were going on here, right? And then so it said they cast him into the pit was empty, and they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of the Israelites. So remember when they sat down and ate with the Messiah, Judas stopped the bread with the Messiah, and then he went out to betray the Messiah, to sell the Messiah for 30 pieces of silver. So you have to see them sitting down eating bread before they lift their eyes up and get ready to sell Joseph. So all of it is talking about the Messiah. I don't know if y'all have ever seen it or not, but when you look at these things, they're good to know that these things happen, but you have to see how they're pointing to the Messiah. Do y'all see that? Does everybody see that with all that? Okay.
Now.
Yeah, I do now.
Okay. Okay. But does it make sense to everybody? Are y'all following that? Able to follow that?
My Wi-Fi had went out or something. I ain't hear nothing that y'all just said right there.
Okay, so let me try to. So we're talking about Joseph and the Messiah, the correlation. So if you look, did you hear about the goat and lamb? Did you hear any of that part?
Yeah.
Okay, so now remember with the Messiah, when he ate the Last Supper with his disciples, he said that he that shall stop in the dish with me, he's the one that's going to betray me. And so as they stopped in the dish and they passed the bread, whatever, and Judas stopped in the dish with Joshua, right after then Joshua said, hurry up and do whatever you're going to do quickly. And right after they did that, Judas went and got the 30 pieces of silver to betray the Messiah, to get paid to sell the Messiah to them or give the Messiah to them. Same thing it says here when they cast Joseph in a pit, it says they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came, and that's when they sold their brother Joseph to the Ishmaelites after they sat down and ate bread. So after the Messiah sat down and ate bread with his disciples, Judas went and sold him too. And so all of it is correlating to the Messiah, or talking about the Messiah, pointing to the Messiah, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Kobe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so they took the coat of many colors, put the blood on it. He was very upset about it. They sold him to Potiphar, the captain of the guard of Pharaoh's officer, Potiphar. That's who he got sold to. All right, so the very next chapter starts out saying, and it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite, whose name was Hiram. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain king. That has nothing to do with Joseph being sold to Egypt. What in the world? Where did that come from? It seems so out of place for this chapter to come here, right? So it's this chapter, 38th chapter, is talking about, and it starts out with the word and. And it came to pass at that time that Judah, like you don't even start a chapter with and first of all, but this whole chapter is talking about Judah and Tamar, how Judah, whatever, Tamar tricked him late when she ended up pregnant, and then had Perez and so forth and so on. The very next chapter picks back up with Joseph down in Egypt. So the 38th chapter seems a little bit out of place, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all see that? How the 38th chapter does not seem to fit right here? Okay, so if we look at the 38th chapter, let's go back to the 38th chapter and pick up a few things in there. You'll see how this ties into the book of Job. So it says, and it came to pass at that time, at what time? That Judah went down from his brethren and turned in to a certain Adullamite whose name was Harah. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he took her and went in unto her. Remember, Shua was Keturah's son. And she conceived and bare a son, so forth and so on, blah, blah, blah. So this had to be around the same time with them being in Esau's land. Okay, and the same time around Job. So let's go to Job now. And then we'll come and finish the 39th chapter with Joseph. So when we go to Job,
Hold on.
first chapter.
First
Go
chapter.
ahead.
Okay.
Job, first chapter. I'm gonna wait for y'all to get it.
I'm ready.
All right. So there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright and one that feared Elohim and eschewed evil. So he's in the land of Uz, which we know is Esau, one of Esau's descendants. So they're in Canaan land right now at this time that this is taking place. Okay. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she asses, and a very great household. So that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed Elohim in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Now, some people will say that where it says, and his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, that they were celebrating their birthdays. Some, say that part. Even if so, Job felt the need to offer up sacrifices in case they were sinning against Yahweh with that, because Yahweh hadn't said anything about it yet, but he felt the need to offer up sacrifice in case they sinned against Yahweh and cursed Yahweh in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Now, there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also unto them. And Yahweh said unto Satan, now wait a minute. Now, who in the world can read? Who in the world can write about this? Who saw this to be able to write this?
Yahweh.
Who in the world could? Well, Yahweh didn't write it. Who in the world could have seen this and be able to write about it? They have to be looking at some heavenly things, some spiritual things. Who wrote the book of Genesis?
Moses.
Moses wrote the book of Job too. So the book of Job actually fits right there in Genesis, in between those 2 chapters that look kind of off. This is where the book of Job fits at. But because it's so much information on Job, when the translators and all of them tried to put these books together, they just pulled out everything about Job and made it be a whole book of Job. But Job actually is supposed to go in Genesis because Moses wrote about Job. I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to prove that to y'all in just a second. Let's see, sons of Issachar. And I'll show y'all this real quick. And then we'll come back to Job. All right. So when we go to when they got ready to come down into Egypt, Genesis 46, and I'll start at the 8th verse. I want y'all to see this.
Wow.
Now, this is those who came to Egypt. Now, pay attention to this part. Now, these are the ones that came down into Egypt after there was a famine in the land, and Joseph made himself known to his brethren and things like that. He's like, go get my father, and y'all come on down here to this good land of Goshen, tell them you should. So after all that happened, and they're coming down to Egypt to be with Joseph now, this is who came down into Egypt. And these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt, Jacob and his sons. Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. And the sons of Reuben were Hanok and Phalu and Hezron and Carmi. And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, Shaul, the son of the Canaanitish woman. So Simeon went in unto a Canaanitish woman. All right. And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah, Onan, Shelah, Perez, Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan, because remember, those were Judah's first two sons. Tamar was married to He died before they had children. And so Judah gave Onan to Tamar, but Onan didn't want to raise up a child to his brother. So when he went in unto her, he pulled out and spilled them on the ground, and Yahweh killed him for it. But anyway, so the sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. So these are all the ones that came into Egypt. And of the sons of Issachar, Tola and Puvah and Job and Shimron.
Oh, wow.
So Job was born of Issachar. So at the time that we're reading Job, this happened before they came down into Egypt, is what we're reading in the first part of Job.
Hmm.
So because they're in the land of Uz, they're in Canaan land still. Okay. So that's who came down into Egypt. Job was one of those 70 souls that migrated into Egypt. But what we're reading in the first part of Job is before he went down into Egypt. He had all of the substance, and he was the greatest man in Canaan land before they went down. But Yahweh took all of that from him before they went down into Egypt, evidently. That's because we're reading out of the sons of Issachar. I don't read about none of their children, because all of Job's children were killed off at the time when they came down into Canaan land. But now at the end of Job, you'll read and find out that Job had more children after the fact, and that it also says, I'll show it to you in just a second, Job 42 and 15. He had 7 sons. Let me go up a little bit. So this is when Yahweh restored Job. Now this is after they came from being in captivity. And Yahweh turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also, Yahweh gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all that they had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil that Yahweh had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and everyone an earring of gold. So Yahweh blessed the latter end of Job. So after all that happened, and it came down into Egypt, when they came up out of Egypt, Yahweh blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she asses. And he had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, the name of the second Hevia, and the name of the third Yep. And in all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job. And their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. When did they receive their inheritance? After they came out of Egypt and made it over to Canaan land.
Yeah.
But you don't read anything else about Job. And it's the reason why you don't read anything else about Job, because the only where you see Job's name is down in Egypt in the 46th chapter of Genesis, where Job was one of the 70 that migrated. And then you also read about Job in the book of Job. But there was a mistransliteration amongst the text, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Let me see. Sons of Issachar. You can look up sons of Issachar and it'll show you. So I want to show y'all this real quick. So you see sons of Issachar, Tola, Puvah, Job, and Shimron in Genesis 46:13. But then you see in Chronicles 7:1, now the sons of Issachar were Tola, same name. Now it says Pua instead of Puvah, and Jashub instead of Job, and Shimron. So Jashub and Job are the same person. They just mistransliterated his name in this book of Chronicles. and in Numbers. But Jashub and Job are the same one. So you read about Jashub in Numbers after they came up out of Egypt. So Job made it out of Egypt. Job even made it to Canaan land. Job is the only one born in Canaan land, went down into Egypt, and made it back to Canaan land. He's the only one.
He did
But the book of Job,
He did a round trip.
He did a round trip. Yahweh had to show somebody doing a round trip.
Right.
And that's why the book always talks about the patience of Job. Job was hundreds of years old. It even says it in the 42nd chapter of Job. He even saw his grandchildren to the 4th generation. Job lived a long life. But Job had to wait over 200 something years before Yahweh redeemed him from taking he took all his children from him before he went into Egypt. Yeah. They came down into Egypt, and they were in Egypt for over 200 and something years in bondage. And Job still didn't have any more substance of children yet until after he got back to Canaan land and had all of his children again. And he was able to see his children grow to the 4th generation and see his children receive their inheritance.
Wow.
So yes, in the beginning, Job did not know Yahweh's name at first, but he did know Yahweh's name after the fact. And you can kind of, if you keep on reading Job, you'll kind of see towards the end of there, so forth and so when he received his inheritance and things like that. But let's go back over to Job real quick so we can finish this.
Hey, Carla, real quick.
Yes.
Yes. I looked up a definition for the name Jashub. Mm-hmm. It means he will return.
He will return. You better hush, boy. That makes all the sense in the world because he did return back into Egypt. And that's why, so it talks about Abraham about having faith, because Yahweh waited 25 long years to make good on the promise he gave Abraham. But that's why everybody talks about the patience of Job. Job had to wait over 200 and something years for Yahweh to redeem him. And he said, out of this flesh, I know my Redeemer liveth. And he still had to wait over 200 and something years, and Yahweh rewarded him for his patience.
Hallelujah.
I did not know that I had no clue, but I knew I could not figure out how the writer of Job was able to see the sons of Elohim and Yahweh talking to them. I could not see that at first, but it makes sense. Moses was the one that was up there into the top of the mount seeing everything. Yeah. And so Yahweh showed it to Moses. That's who wrote the book of Job. And that's how he was able to see the sons of Elohim and Satan coming also, so forth and so on, because Moses was up there with Yahweh in that third trip. Those 40 days and 40 nights, and saw all of these things. And so then, back in Job, now there was a day when there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them. And Yahweh said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And Yahweh said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that fears Elohim and escheweth evil? And Satan answered Yahweh and said, but Job fear you for nothing. Has not thou made a hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahweh. Who can see somebody going forth from the presence of Yahweh, or even knows anything about Yahweh, if Job didn't even know Yahweh's name at the time? Because at the time, he didn't know Yahweh's name. He was in the land of Uz. So Job couldn't have written this because he didn't even know Yahweh's name. Right. The only one that could have written this was Moses, because at the time Moses wrote this, he knew Yahweh's name. And there was a day when the sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servant with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of Elohim is fallen from. So when they talk, they say Elohim. You don't see what they say Yahweh, they say Elohim, because they didn't know Yahweh's name at the time. But anyway, While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of Elohim was fallen from heaven, and had burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. When Job arose and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. Yahweh gave, Yahweh had taken. We know you can say Yahweh. Yahweh gave, Yahweh taketh away. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. And all this Job sinned not, did not charge Elohim foolishly. Now Moses writes the next chapter. Again, there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them to present themselves before Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And Yahweh said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that fears Elohim and eschews evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause? And Satan answered Yahweh and said, skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, he is in thy hand, to save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of Yahweh, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. He took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse Elohim and die. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of Elohim? And shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Esau's son, Bildad the Shuhite, Keturah's grandson, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. When they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept, and they rent everyone his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and spoke. None spoke a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. And that's Job, right? So, hope y'all can see that not Job, I'm at Genesis 38, how the 38th chapter does not fit where it goes right here. It really fits after the 36th chapter, right after we talked about Esau, Esau or whatever. This chapter should go there, and Job should go in that way too, and then tell the story of Joseph, but it doesn't happen that way. So with Judah and Tamar. So let's finish this real quick, because time is running out. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite. Any questions about Job, though? Do y'all see that Moses wrote the book of Job and how it fits right there, and how Job actually did see his inheritance? He saw his children receive their inheritance.
I can see it now.
Questions on that?
I could see that
Okay.
where it fits in now, and that Moses wrote it because Job's name was way back there.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Very good. Okay. Any questions about it, anybody?
So that's how, like in typing shadow, before we come into class, that's what was going on with us. Like I'm talking, adversary, because we didn't know anything about Yahweh or the truth about how he exists. Yes, that was so beautiful to me.
Yep. Yeah, it's something else too that I wanted, not in this class, but maybe later on in the workshop, about Yahweh being on the throne and the mystery of iniquity and the mystery of righteousness being right there and how he uses that. You can use the book of Job to kind of show that too. But for the sake of time, I'll go ahead and finish these 2 chapters and we'll be done. I'll give y'all assignment and we'll be done. All right, so second verse. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he took her and went in unto her, and she conceived and bare a son. He called his name And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Chezuk when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of Yahweh, and Yahweh slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, the secondborn, go in unto thy brother's wife and marry her and raise up seed to thy brother, because that was traditionally the thing. The oldest brother is the head of the family, or he's the next in line, whatever, right? And so if he has a wife and he doesn't have a son to leave his inheritance to, then the next of kin is supposed to go in unto his wife and have a son and raise up that child unto the dead brother's name for his dead brother's inheritance. That was a tradition. And so Judah told the secondborn, Onan, go in unto thy brother's wife and marry her and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that she give seed to his brother, lest he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased Yahweh, wherefore he slew him also. So Yahweh killed him too. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house till Shelah, my son, be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted and went up unto his sheep shearers to Timnath, he and his friend Hurrah, the Adullamite. Remember the Adullamite, that's also Esau's son too. The Adullamite. So they all this born in the land of Esau. And it was told Tamar, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garments off from her and covered her with a veil and wrapped herself and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown and she was not given unto him to wife. So she was like, oh, so you just going to not do what you said? And so Judah saw her. He thought her to be a harlot or a whore because she had her face covered up. And he turned unto her by the way and said, go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what wilt thou give me that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, will thou give me a pledge till thou send it? Are you going to give me something to hold on to till you send it so you won't just trick me? And so he said, what pledge shall I give thee? And she said, thy signet and thy bracelet and thy staff that is in thine hand. And he gave it her and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away and laid by her veil from her and put on the garments of her widowhood. So she took those poor clothes off, put her widowhood clothes back on. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adullamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of the place, saying, where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, there was no harlot in this place. He returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in that place. And Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. So he was like, just let her have it, because I don't want nobody to find out about it, and I don't want to be, made ashamed. So let her have the signet ring, the bracelets, and my staff. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months after. So now 3 months, it gotta be 3 months after. So now she's starting to show a little bit. That it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, has played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth and let her be burnt. So he was going to kill her. So he thought that she went and slept with somebody else outside of their family. He was going to kill her. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, am I with child? And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these, the signet and bracelets and staff? And Judah acknowledged them and said, she has been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shalai, my son. And he knew her again no more. He didn't have sex with her anymore after that. And it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out. And she said, how hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Perez. And afterward came out his brother, that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Now, you know, Perez is where David's father Jesse and David and all them came from. Well, Boaz first. Boaz came from Perez and so forth and so on. But anyway, so from Tamar and Judah came the Messiah from that lineage. So it seems like, dang, all that was going on, and she tricked him and this and that, whatever. But Yahweh had all that going on for a purpose, because that's the lineage that Yahweh had Yahshua come from. Because he could not have come from one of Judah's sons, because Judah's sons were of the Canaanite women. So it had to come through Judah to be a pure son or pure seed. So that's why Tamar had to go in. That's why Yahweh had it done that way, because it wouldn't have been a pure seed anyway had it come from any of Judah's sons. That's why Yahweh did it that way. I don't know if y'all caught that or not. All right, last chapter, and we're done. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt. This makes no sense after this chapter, but okay. Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And Yahweh was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand. The poor little 17-year-old, bless his heart. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house. And all that he had, he put into his hand. And it came to pass from that time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. And he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. He was handsome. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in this house. He don't know what he got in his house. And he has committed all that he has to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I. Neither has he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against Elohim? And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. She caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he has brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his master came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, Which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into prison and placed where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. But Yahweh was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because Yahweh was with him. And that which he did, Yahweh made it to prosper. Genesis 39th chapter. All right. Anything on this one? That was so messed up. Thinking hell.
I noticed in the not this chapter, but the last chapter about Tamar, that she covered her face and harlots covered their face. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that because I heard that she put on harlot's clothes, but I'm like, what type of clothes would that be? But it was that she covered her face.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. What else? Anything else, you guys? Poor little Joseph, he's going through all kind of stuff. His brothers lie on him. She done lied on him. Goodness, but Yahweh was with him the entire time. Now, let me ask you this. How did Joseph know that it was wrong to sleep with Potiphar's wife?
Yahweh.
It was already in him. Mm-hmm. He knew what was right. So that's the thing. That's what it says in Galatians. It wasn't that they didn't know that they weren't supposed to commit adultery, but because Yahweh said, thou shalt not do it, it made it exceedingly sinful. It was already a sin to do it. But because Yahweh said, thou shalt not do it, it made it exceedingly sinful. He knew, and he said, you're going to make me sin against Elohim. Not against your husband, but against Elohim. Before the law was ever given that thou shalt not commit adultery or fornication, he knew that it was wrong to do it, and he did not do it. All right, cool. Anything else you guys see in this chapter?
But I don't think I see the 40. What we were talking about earlier. I mean, they're the spirit that y'all was with them the whole time. With the blood from the coat and the water from Jacob Whip, then the spirit that Yahweh was with them the whole time. But I don't see the 40. I don't think.
It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's coming. Yeah, when he goes to Pharaoh, he talks to Pharaoh about his dream. You'll see it after that. It's within the same time frame though. Yep. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay.
Ain't that the end of the 39th chapter?
Yeah, that's the end of the 39th chapter. Mm-hmm.
Okay, going into the 40th chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 40th chapter.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But of course, there were no chapters and verses like that when Moses wrote it. They just kind of made it into chapters. But yeah,
right.
To your point though. But when he went to Pharaoh, he was 39 years old when he was brought to Pharaoh. So the book says. So the very next year is when he began to prosper Pharaoh's house at the age of 40. But you'll see it when we read it though. Yeah. Yep. So but the assignment though that I want you guys to do next, that part. Up to here. I'm starving. Here we go. So y'all's assignment for next week though, since Thanksgiving is coming up, I do want to take a pause from reading. Got another writing report. Research Thanksgiving. So research Thanksgiving, the origin of it, where it comes from, the meaning of it, how it got into, people doing it now, and then find out in the Bible what Yahweh feels about it. Like what does Yahweh feel about those type of things, and then write a report about it. So next Tuesday, I expect you guys to be able to read your reports on what you found about Thanksgiving and what you find out about what Yahweh thinks about it. And then after that, we'll go back into finishing Genesis on up to finish up Moses' third trip. Any questions? Questions? Y'all are gonna find a lot out about Thanksgiving, huh?
You send that to me in a text. Like, will you?
Yes,
like,
I surely will.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
I
way
surely will. Okay. I think this class is very informative. With permission, are you guys okay if I post this one on YouTube? Anybody not okay with that? Okay, cool. Okay. All right. So I think it's a lot of really good information, especially about Job, that will be good to share. All right, cool beans. Let me do this real quick. We'll end with the doxology. It's the last two verses of the book of Jude. I enjoyed y'all. Y'all did very good. All right. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless for the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise Elohim, our Savior, through Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. Let us all say hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. All right, very good.